Hey guys, what is going on location out here in Plovdiv, Bulgaria, and today we are going to look around the oldest city in Europe. Made it to the top of Bunardzhika Hill. Back in Roman times, this was called Hill of Hercules. It's maybe 30-minute hike up steps to get up here, but for some reason I'm just sweating my butt off. So anyways, at the top of the hill here, this is not Hercules. This is a Russian soldier called Alyosha. Alyosha was a common Russian name, so a lot of the soldiers that came to liberate Bulgaria in World War II were called Alyosha. And so they built this monument to the Red Army in 1957, and it accompanies a lot of amazing views of the city. This is the second highest peak in Plovdiv. Alright, I moved down the hill a bit so we could get a better look. So obviously, not everyone is super happy about this monument, as it reminds people of the communist past of Bulgaria. And there were multiple calls to have it taken down, and at one point allegedly it was going to be turned into an enormous Coca-Cola bottle. But here it stands, the monument to the Red Army. So while I'm heading down Bunardzhika Hill, I'll give you a few facts about Plovdiv. Plovdiv is the oldest city in Europe that has been continuously lived in. So that means the city is older than Rome. It is older than Paris or any other European city that you can think of. If you were to take a shovel and dig into the ground, if you dug for 3 to 4 meters, you would find Byzantine and old Bulgarian ruins. If you dug down to 6 or 7 meters, you're going to find Roman ruins. And then if you dig down to 10 meters into the ground, you would find ancient ruins. So there's just tons of history in this city. Not only is it old in European standards, it's the 6th oldest city in the world. And in 2019, it won European Capital of Culture. So there's a lot of stuff to check out in Plovdiv, Bulgaria. So this area is the Kapana Art District. It's kind of overlooked because of all the history. It's a pretty cool area in its own right. It's 500 years old, and originally was the area where a lot of crafts workers, like goldsmiths and leather workers and cloth makers, would live. It's a pretty cool spot to hang out. Pretty impressed with Plovdiv so far. But as we're strolling through, I want to tell you a little bit about the Bulgarians that might be a little bit confusing. When they say yes, they shake their head, and when they say no, they nod their head. And that's very confusing. If you ask someone, is this the right bus to get to this place, and they do this, you're like, oh, okay, but they mean yes. So there's a reason for that. Let's head down this way. And the reason for that is because when the Ottomans invaded Bulgaria, they knew what would happen is they would get a knife to the throat, and the Ottomans were going to ask everyone, are you Christian? And so they had to either say yes or no. So they all got together and decided from now on, this is yes and this is no. So they Ottomans came in, and they did do that. They lined up all the men, put a knife to their neck, and asked, "Are you Christian?" They all shook their head, yes. And that tradition lives on to this day. It is a bit confusing, but kind of cool, kind of different. Speaking of the Ottomans, they came in the 14th century and they built this mosque, the Dzhumaya Mosque. They destroyed the Sveta Petka Tarnovska Cathedral Church and erected this mosque in its place right in the center of town. This is, I think, translates to the main Friday Mosque. In the 4th century BC, this city was not called Plovdiv. It was the ancient Roman city, Philippopolis. And Philippopolis had a stadium that could seat 30,000 people. And part of it is still here. They restored it, and it's pretty awesome. It's right here on the edge of Kapana Art District. We have the ancient stadium of Philippopolis. So here we are. This was made in the 2nd century AD by Emperor Hadrian. And as you saw on that model, you can imagine it would stretch pretty far into the distance, seating 30,000 people. And there were a lot of sporting events. They would also have, I guess, poetry and art contests and things like that. So the entire stadium is not preserved, but this part is. And it's pretty neat how it is weaved into the modern part of the city. The Kapana Art District is down that way. And now we're heading on the pedestrian street of Knyaz Aleksandar I, the Prince Alexander I. This is the longest pedestrian street in Europe. It's 1,750 meters, and it connects the art district back there to the Old Town. So we're going to march on down to the Old Town. So like I mentioned before, Plovdiv was the 2019 European Capital of Culture. I also saw this statue here, Milyo. So what you're supposed to do is you say a wish into Milo's ear, like this, which I'll do, and say, "Hey Milyo, make some of these people subscribe to my channel." See if it works. But you guys should subscribe if you haven't already. I would appreciate it. Still on the pedestrian streets. Fountain, outdoor seating, and actually it seems to be, I'm not actually sure if this is a local election, because in Sofia there were a lot of this too, but kind of voting booths here. A lot of people have been offering me flyers, and I haven't taken any. I can't vote. I took the flyers just to see. So I'm a little bit confused about this guy here because his number's crossed out. So I don't know if this is a campaign against him. This guy's number is clearly shown, number 42. So I don't know. Interesting. I can't read anything that it says. Turns out I was misinformed. That pedestrian street does not connect Old Town and the art district, so I'm walking back. But found some more cool Roman ruins, the Roman Forum. It is pretty neat how these all blend together, the modern buildings and the ruins, and you can see the ruins are, 6 or 7 meters below the ground level. So this doesn't have anything to do with history, maybe just my brain. but in Cyrillic, you'll see this sign. It says restaurant. So it's a little bit confusing to English speakers because P is R in Cyrillic, C is S, H is N. So if you actually sound that out, it says restaurant. But every time I see that, I know what it means, I know it says restaurant, but I always just say pectopot. I don't know. It's fun for me to say pectopot and then go and eat at a pectopot. Turns out I made a big circle to get back to where I was pretty much. You can see the stadium is back that way and Old Town is over here. Got a bit more hiking to do. Old Town in Plovdiv is built on 3 hills, so I guess we're going back up. The Old Town here is very different than the other old towns I've been to. This is actually just ruins and old houses. The other places I've seen have been packed with cafes and bars, street performers. So maybe it'll change, but it seems like that Kapana Art District, not far from here, that seems to be the hangout spot with all the cafes and bars and clubs and all that. Just had to walk through 1,000 students, but we are here where I wanted to go. Bought my ticket for 5 leva. And I guess I will join these other tourists down here. Wow. That's amazing. All right, check it out. This theater of Philippopolis is not to be confused with the stadium. This is on much higher ground. And this was built a little bit earlier in the 1st century. Some statues up there. So I suppose there have been a lot of great performances on this stage. This theater is still in use. They still have modern performances here, and it can hold 5,000 to 7,000 people. I just walked out of the Old Town so I could walk back in, but I wanted to show you guys the Hisar Kapia. This is a medieval gate from the 11th century. One of 3 medieval gates leading into the ancient Old Town. So this street leads to Nebet Tepe, or Nebet Hill. That's where the view is. It's what I wanted to see, but it is closed. The hill is closed. Looks like there's construction going on. So I wonder if that's why this Old Town is so quiet. Maybe because Nebet Tepe is under construction, or if it's usually like this. There definitely aren't as many shops, bars, cafes, restaurants that I expected. I am going to find a pectopot and get some local cuisine. And we found it. Pretty cool setup. It's actually kind of on both sides of the street. A lot of outdoor seating. Might have some stuff upstairs there. When you think of the best wine countries, you might not always think of Bulgaria, but it is very popular here. There's a lot of different kinds of Bulgarian wine. Bulgarians are kind of a melting pot of people from the Slavs and the Thracians. And there is a saying about the Thracians that they would share everything except their sword and their wine. So I've got this kind of wine called Mavrud, and it's indigenous in the Balkans region, very popular here. Delicious. If you can find some, I would recommend checking out your local grocery store, wine cellar, seeing if you have any Bulgarian wines. What I got for dinner is called Bobyaknia. It's a thick bean soup. I don't want to spill it. It's got beans, mushrooms, and I added sausage to it. It came with the Bulgarian pepper, which I've had before, a bit spicy. And I actually found out that the alphabets are different. Cyrillic in Russian and Bulgarian, probably Serbian and other places, because I asked the waitress to type out what this was called so I can put it up, and she said, oh, you don't have the Bulgarian alphabet, you have the Russian alphabet. So anyways, this looks really good, smells really good. Travelor gives it a thumbs up, as you'd expect. Alright guys, we're gonna end it there. If you learned something, please give me a like. If you're not subscribed, please subscribe. I got a lot more coming. That is it for Plovdiv, Bulgaria. I'll see you guys in the next episode.